with your sisters when you hop on and you're wearing pretty much the same thing.
Always. Same brain.
Same brain. So we always say.
Same brain. You see all the stuff around the Super Bowl commercial. I mean, there's all been the rage of Super Bowl commercial, but Mr. Beast with Salesforce.
Yeah, that was such a fun collab with like a B2B brand with like a big YouTube star. You don't see those crossovers very often.
Yeah. I think it's just, again, B2B starting to see B2C and seeing the more of those consumer products and kind of seeping into them. I think that's just such a big thing because I think B2C is so cutthroat and so ruthless when it comes to content and everything, where B2B, you can kind of like rest in your morals because you just got to talk. There's just such big organizations when it comes to decision making and stuff. But at the end of the day, like all these consumer and B2C traditional people you have to target are like young and Gen Z, and these Gen Zers are coming into the companies and becoming more decision makers. And so to effectively reach these folks, you have to kind of tap into the playbook that they're used to. And so I think that's very interesting. What are your thoughts on, a lot of folks were like, Mr. Beast, well, how is he relevant to Salesforce at all? And what are your kind of thoughts around that? Like, why Mr. Beast?
I mean, I would say no, he's not relevant, but at the same time, that's kind of perfect because he's going to make it relevant. The whole premise is that, he's helping them create their ad and he's big on social media. Salesforce has a big following on social media, kind of come together in that way. And that it comes together with the purpose of he's great at creating content. He is one of the masters at it. He's done so amazingly well. And what better person than him who has done it millions of times to help them create a Super Bowl ad, which is very timely. So I think even though on the surface they don't go together, I think they really do. It's the same idea of this past year with Astronomer and Gwyneth Paltrow. Like, she has nothing to do with a tech brand, like at all. Like, she's the opposite of what I would picture for an AI company. But sometimes the collabs just work together if you're thinking outside the box.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And on one hand, it's like he has like 1 in 5 people in the world has seen his videos. And so those are folks that use Salesforce. On top of like maybe it's like not just the Salesforce exec, but it's the Salesforce kids that watch Mr. Beast all the single time. So I feel like he's so known that it is relevant because so many people have seen Mr. Beast. But I love your point too, is like he's not just a creator, he's the master marketer for the modern era of media and entertainment, like period, like the most modern marketer that is just killing it right now. And so Salesforce, like a top tech company, like why not partner with someone who actually has built this brand and is really a founder in himself. And so I think that is just interesting on that front. But yeah, I think it kind of goes in nicely too to what we're discussing this week and this topic of founder-led marketing in 2026 and how important it is and like what even is founder-led marketing and also what's the future of founder-led marketing based upon like what's worked in the past, what will work today, and like what's actually going to resonate in the future. And I think just to kind of kick it off, like founder-led marketing is nothing new. Like we've all seen founders go out and build companies. But I feel like founder-led marketing is so key today because it's really controlling like your trust and your trust layer of your go-to-market efforts. And I guess I would ask kind of for you, what your opinion is, what is founder-led marketing actually in 2026?
I think founder-led marketing in 2026 is making sure that your founder is not just the face, but the personality of the brand. I think, especially with Gen Z, as you mentioned, being so like fully in the workforce now and fully in these positions of setting power in corporate structures, and they're looking for personality. They don't want just the ROI on a product. They want to know like who has this product, why, what's the fun in it, what is the vibe of it. There's so much more looking at the big picture. And I think that social media and founders being on social media is a great way to show that personality and to really show this is why I have this brand. This is why you should buy from my brand because this is me, this is who I am. So I think putting that personal spin on it really speaks to this younger generation. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think really well said. I think there's 2 modes of founder-led marketing in 2026. I think the Founder A is basically a founder creator who's already built up an audience, already has trust with their community, and it's really using that founder creator and launching relevant products and launching things that really align with their community and things they're built. I think that is a huge opportunity. And we've seen a ton of it over the past couple of years of people doing this. I think we'll continue to see it in really innovative ways because I think AI helps people kind of go out and launch brands. In the past, it was really, really hard to be a creator and also go launch companies because it was so all encompassing. But now I think it helps us to go out and do these things and really understand and grapple with new ideas and launch them for our communities. So I think that's founder A. Founder B is the person who is more launching a company, maybe doesn't already have an audience, but really wants to be the mouthpiece of the company and really create content and even be more of a thought leader. And I think that is such a cool opportunity right now for founders to go out and create content on the same side of launching a product. And I think it's one of the best things that you can do as a founder today. It's never been cheaper to build tech and software, but it's never been harder to go out and actually capture the minds and the hearts of your audiences in a way that really resonates. And I really feel like we realized founder-led marketing wasn't optional anymore with so much more money going into ads ever than before, but also sales market, like sales messages and outbound email and outbound anything is just kind of feel like more fatigued. So founders really having to go out, kind of sell through trust is so important.
When we talk about founder-led marketing, a lot of founders, especially if they're new to it, which is many of them, want to get started in it, and they're not quite sure how do you get started? Because social media, if you're not in it all the time and you haven't been in it, is kind of a daunting thing, a little bit scary. What advice would you give to a founder that's just wanting to get started with this? How do you start? How do you handle it off the bat?
Yeah, I would say take ownership over it. I think the founders that are wanting to 100% outsource it, and I mean, you can bring people on your team to help you with it. And I would actually advise that because as a founder, you have so much going on, you can't do everything. But I would really say, like, you take it by the wheel and be the driver. Like, sure, have some passengers helping you tell you where to go, especially ones that have been there and like know the directions. But you should be at the wheel because I think being a founder on social media constantly, you're seeing what's happening in the industry. Customers, hello, like what do they want? Like what's going on? What are the things they're saying on social media? What are the things they're saying about your product they don't like? And then you can get connected to other customers, other people in the industry, people who are wanting to invest into you. Everyone's on social media today. In the past, people would ignore social media and just show up to those industry events and go around and trade business cards. But now the conversations are all starting online, like literally everything's starting on LinkedIn. And then when you show up to those events, that's where you've already had that initial conversations online. And you go and you just basically cement those conversations or cement those big deals in person. You just go and shake hands. But if I was a founder, I would start with just a consistent drumbeat, a habitual thing where you're posting something every single day, a conversation you had the day before, a selfie with a client, you at an event. It's like, it can be unpolished, it can be anything, but it can just be a consistent showing up every single day, a non-negotiable, and then just see how it grows. Because people today want to hear from you. They want to hear your unique perspective and they want to see you showing up. That's how I would say for founders to kind of jump in. Would love to hear your thoughts too.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, you're the founder of our brand, right? And you're sending me things all the time because people are watching, people are listening. Even you as a founder, you're on there often. You'll send me posts all the time like, hey, did you see this really cool announcement or this really cool thing this person did? And I think that people overthink it too much. I think that as a founder, you also might worry about, I want to come off as very expert in my field. I want to come off as like a thought leader in this area. I don't want to say something that will make me look silly, but I think you like what you said, it could be unpolished. People are not thinking about it as hard as you're thinking about it. And people love to see others show up. There's so much fun in seeing a founder post, and it's something that's so raw, so honest. You're like, wow, that is actually really cool that they talked about that. So I think like I would just add on to what you said brilliantly. Just don't overthink it. Just get started and you'll figure it out from there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think founder-led marketing is um, misworded because it says founder-led marketing, but I think it's everything beyond marketing. I think it's sales. I think it's customer relations. I think it's investor relations. I think it's comms. I think it's employee retention. I think it's HR. Like having your founder show up is everything. Like I think it's way beyond just marketing at this point in 2026. I think it's the strategy for nearly everything, even coming down to product feedback and product and growth, go to market. I think it's something at this point where it should be one of the main conversations and one of the main focuses because anything can be done on socials when it comes to partnerships, growth, anything. I think it's kind of a fun story too. When we were building our tech company, Sync, and I've already had my audience and everything, but we used my profile for all growth. Like because I had an audience on LinkedIn, we were able to connect with customers. We were able to hop on podcasts, people we wanted to work with. We were able to do collaborations with my LinkedIn with cool companies we wanted to land with customers and land and expand. Like the LinkedIn profile or social media profile in general is so valuable that you can actually use it as an asset to get into companies and meet people and really understand them and kind of build. Because today, I mean, because everyone's on socials, and if you have nothing going on, it's really hard to kind of break into those folks and those accounts. But social media kind of gives you this value add to someone else right off the bat. And that's the whole thing of business. If you can come in and you can give something first, then you can really make anything happen. And I feel like social media and having that audience is that ability to do that.
Yeah, I'd agree. I agree 100%. I mean, if you have someone sends you a cold DM and you look at their profile and they have like 10 followers, your first thought is it's a scam, right? And it could be very real, like a very legitimate person, but your first thought is scam because they don't have that trust built up ahead of the game. So building up that audience ahead of the game is just going to pay dividends later on and be so much easier for you when you're developing your product. Or if you're already have your product and you want to grow it, it's the best way to do alongside your personal growth as well. So yeah, I would totally agree.
Yeah, my question for you is there's a lot of great use cases for people who are doing founder-led marketing well. Is there anything that you would advise people to not do when it comes to founder-led marketing in 2026?
That's a good one. I would say this might be controversial. I would say don't hop into the trends yet. I've seen a lot of people try really quickly to hop into all the TikTok trends and all these like funny videos and these like different things that people are doing online. And I think that if you hop into those too fast, it seems more like you're trying to build up a comedy page instead of building a brand and building a personal brand. Especially because those can be very tricky and stay on the side of the comedy and not on the side of cringe. I think that to play it safe at the beginning as you're building, be more real, be more honest, be more authentically who you are and what you do. And then later on, if you want to dabble with the trends and all that, you can. But I'd say stay away from those at the beginning when you're first starting to grow. What do you think? There's so many things we could add here.
Yeah, I think a couple of things, especially when we're talking about founder-led marketing, basically a person who has a company behind their brand. I think A is not having a structure about what they're doing. I think notably we're discussing a little more, but click up Chris Cunningham with their content. They test each piece and then each piece goes into like a winner and a loser. And then they lean more into the winners and they walk away from the losers. I think being able to have an understanding of your strategy of what's working and do more of it and what's not and go away. So basically having a strategy around founder-led marketing, which is so, so important. Two, I think an issue I would have is just basically passing everything off, like outsourcing everything, like not having hand on it. I think it really is important for founders to have a constant hands into it because that's what makes it so special and going to stick. And then lastly, I think leaning too far into AI, I think is a problem that founders will have in 2026. Yes, it makes it easier than ever to lean into like creating content. So I would do it strategically. But I wouldn't have like an AI avatar I wouldn't lean into like only AI generated copy. I would still basically making sure like you as a founder are really showing through who you are, because that's what's going to resonate and build the trust. As I mentioned before, like it's like really the trust layer of your go to market, and you showing up authentically is like, I think the biggest thing for social media.
Yeah. And we talk a lot about that phrase, like showing up authentically. And we probably should clarify what that means exactly. You said to not make an AI avatar of yourself and use that instead. And I would agree. And I would also add, don't, use like the copy paste AI copy for your posts. And don't pull like, just an AI graphic straight from AI and pop it onto there, or a picture that AI made. You want to make it about you in still a professional way, but something that lets people know a little bit about who you are. So show your humor, show your personality, show the why maybe behind why you're building what you're building, or why you're so passionate about it, or what are you passionate about? And those little tidbits that relate you to your product. I think that's where the impact really comes in here.
Yeah, I definitely agree on the authentic part. I mean, it's been a buzzword for a while now, but I think it's starting to emerge into B2B as founders and executives are busier than ever. It's like, how do you show up as yourself? I think it's really having those built-in systems, like realizing how important the time is around it and kind of showing up consistently. And even if it's not polished, like still just putting it out there. I think it's like really being okay with the unpolished and having it out there versus like, oh my gosh, I think when you put too much, it has to be perfect. I have to show up all the time. That's when you have to like, you start leaning into AI and also like way overdone. Um, I think the beauty also of founder-led marketing is being able to show up in a timely manner when it comes to the most emerging things in the world. That's like really the power of being able to kind of be in the conversation with your customers and people in the industry. And my kind of question too beyond that is we've seen a lot of founders and companies really lean into this in 2025. And as we're emerging into 2026, what are going to be the new things that companies are going to be doing when it comes to founder-led marketing that really allows them to rise above the noise and really stick out on social media?
That's a good question. I think founder-led marketing is becoming a huge thing. I think it's going to become increasingly more popular. And with that, we're going to see focus on the quality of what we're getting from founders. You mentioned about having people dedicated at your company to help you with your content. And I think that we will see that above and beyond. I think we're gonna see some amazing content coming out. I'm thinking, along the lines of all the really great, product hunt launch videos that we see all the time, where people put so much time and effort and work into these videos. I think we're gonna see that quality and that time and effort into this founder-led marketing, especially at larger companies that have the bandwidth and the staffing to do it. I think we're gonna see some really cool content coming out that's around the founders and not just around, what the product is and what the company does, but around those founders themselves. I think it's a trend that we're seeing in pop culture in general. You look at Netflix and how many movies the past year or two have come out that's about a person and about that person's story, whether it's a celebrity, a music industry person, a political person, and how there's all these series and these movies coming out about one person because we're so interested in people. We want to know more. And I think we're going to see that on a corporate level with these B2B and even B2C brands and the founder led marketing that goes with that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the next opportunity now is having content so different and great that it becomes the moat, that it becomes what people talk about, becomes what your customers reference. I think how people are going to do this is they're going to have whole departments around content and have whole meetings around planning and the new things and the hires and having it be amazing content that is following the founders behind the scenes, like the whole story, the whole breakdown, the whole arc. And I think that's repurposed across from short form to long form to everything. And I think that's really the future of the content here is much more marketing dollars and everything going into just amazing, amazing content that shows behind the scenes and everything. I guess kind of my follow-up question for you is because that is so important, what do you, if you were leading a marketing organization within a company, what would be the hires that you would have that would make this basically running a media company within a tech company happen?
Ooh, I'd be looking for two people. One, someone very in touch with social media today, not just TikTok though, with all social media and has a real good handle on the differences between all the different platforms. And then two, I would hire someone who has just amazing expertise in doing this kind of marketing at other companies. They've got that expertise. Pair that with the young person who knows the platforms really well. And I think that's a recipe for magic to happen. And then I would give those new hires the freedom, the creative control to come up with some really awesome outside the box thinking. I'd make sure that they have the time, whatever they need to make this happen and to give them almost full creative control over making it happen. That's what I would do. I think that'd be really cool to see. If I had my pick, what would you do?
Yeah, I would agree. I would think I would go either two routes. I would hire basically an amateur content creator to go with each employee that I want to be highlighted. So basically a content creator that would just basically follow around the employees and help them create content so they can do really killer employee generated content for TikTok and Instagram and socials. That, or I also would hire someone that is a really great filmmaker slash person focused on social media that just follows around like the founders as well and kind of creating that like ongoing story arc. I think that is something that I think will be really, really cool. So I think basically just content creators that follow around people at the company that have a really good eye for content that's going to land with social media, but also helps the people at the employees and the founders of the company really have their voice shine through on socials.
I like it. That would be powerful. It's almost like you run a marketing company or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so interesting. I think it's been interesting to see founders at these tech companies and YC companies really leaning into making content and posting on LinkedIn. While at the same hand, seeing these big creators like, I mean, I follow Alex Earl, like building products and companies, but then also like innovative ways that they're using their own audiences that are so fabulous to become investors at companies and launch media companies and media organizations. I think we're seeing founders becoming founder-led marketing type companies, but then I feel like we're just the beginning of creators in ways that they're like monetizing and using their audiences, which is I think really, really cool.
Yeah, it's almost like all the skills are blending together at this point, right? If you're a creator, you're also a business person. And if you're in sales, you're also in marketing. If you're a founder, you're wearing, like you mentioned earlier, all these different hats. And you really have to have all the skills. But I think it's so cool that we live in a time where it's so accessible to have those skills. You can learn as much as you need to learn using YouTube, using ChatGPT, using all the resources at your disposal for free. You don't have to go get a degree in every single one of these things to do so remarkably well with it nowadays. And it's really cool to see.
Yeah, there's seriously never been a bigger opportunity. I think especially for young people, there's this whole conversation around young people in the workforce are cucked. Like, and it's true. It's like it's never been harder to get a job. It's never been harder to apply and like get hired on. There was a post I saw that Microsoft sent out open role for a marketing person, and there was 10,000 applications. So there's this whole thing around young people are cooked when it comes to being hired. But at the same time, I'd say there's never been a bigger opportunity for us young people. Like we've grown up on social media, posting content across platforms that we're fluent in social media. And in a time social media is so valuable, and like go off young people. It's just like, what a great opportunity to lean into your competitive advantage, to go out and build that audience. It's so valuable. It's the best resume. So if you already have an audience, companies want it so bad. And so I think young people just need to lean into what they are so fluent at right now. And that is a really huge opportunity for people right now.
Yeah, love to see it. Awesome.